But still.
Seems like the Korean commentators have a lot to say about that game.
Well, I guess so. Fourth map of. They have it on set 4, but it is actually set 5 pick.
That's right.
I got confused for a second, but still. Sky Temple, it is going to be the global heroes are going to be the important ones here. I think both teams has to. They're not completely using their global potentials. If they actually do, I think they can macro out a lot easier than they what's happening so far. But let's see which team is actually able to get a better draft into Sky Temple.
This was, of course, GG's pick because Mighty would take first pick over the map any day of the week. We'll see what they prioritize here. I think the Falstad is the obvious choice. GG might even ban it. It's so powerful.
There goes Zero Tool.
Good's like, you know when you get a target bounty, like this, you just smile like, yeah, respected. Respected. Okay, there's the Tassadar ban, which means Mighty picks up Falstad here. Denied that from the team that picked this map. Be very wise. They have not done this a single time, mind you. They've picked Ragnaros every time, and they may just do that again here. I think Falstad is absolutely the best choice, but Mighty seems to think otherwise. They're the team that's prioritizing Rag over Falstad, especially on these large maps.
Also strong on this map. Of course, we saw a lot, and one of the note, Tempest had some Sylvanas playing in Sky Temple, and it seems to work. Maybe it was because of he is Duck, but still, Mighty also has that chance available, so just to keep that in mind. But they have insta-locking Ragnaros all 4 games, but they are thinking pretty hard about this one.
They really are. I think they're finally giving some consideration to playing out that Falsty. And I mean, we've talked about everything else. It looks like all we have to do is wait. Personally, I'm with the Falsty. They're with the Rag.
Yeah,
okay.
this gives GG a chance to just take that Falstad away if they actually choose to. But also Zarya is also available here and pretty good, giving shields to sustain on that temple, which is really important because temple actually is pretty strong if you don't have anything. If you're not like a Sonya, let's say you're a support, you shouldn't be there by the way.
Yeah, the Guardians are quite difficult to deal with for sure. They're definitely giving some thought to the Zarya. I think it's more likely that we just simply see the Malfurion and Falstad though. There's nothing to pair with Zarya in terms of what GG has been running. They could run Dahaka now. That could be what good plays here, but with Zarya or with the Zeratul band, it's much less appealing to put Zarya up at the top of the list here. Whereas on the previous set, Zeratul wasn't banned. They had a plan. They wanted to use Zeratul at the beginning. They hit it. And it is going to be Zarya with Vala. So I'm starting to feel familiar here, but they're going to leave Falstad to Mighty.
Well, this opens up a lot of opportunities for Mighty. They can just go ahead and pick Tychus again before it is banned. Or not sure what Joker this will decide to play. He has been playing some variants, some ETC. Does not seem to work for him tonight. Both of the both heroes. Maybe he can pick something else because there are lots of other choices available. Like still Johanna against the Vala. It's still pretty good.
Yeah. Magi, like, in the match against MVP Miracle, Magi was the Falstad master, right? He showed great decision-making with the hero, safety as well, very rarely picked, and dominated that series off Falstad alone. They've switched their priority big time against Good Game here, away from the Falstad, but they do finally take it. Shocking that this pick rotation would take so long to make, and I think this is personally, like, in terms of just universally where we are right now in the Korean meta, these are the obvious picks, but Mighty is really changing what they were thinking on Friday to Sunday. They're not playing the same way.
They're not playing the same way for sure. And taking away Malfurion from, there's a Tychus ban. And as we mentioned, taking away Malfurion from Jaehyun, I think that really forces him out of his comfort zone a lot. Well, he did play, I believe, Rhaegar today, once or twice.
Yeah, he did.
But those Ancestrals were a few times, just by a tiny bit too late compared to Nasang's Ancestral, and then taking away ETC seems to be a very good choice.
Seems wise, yeah.
And having Zarya, of course, shielding ETC can work. Not as strong as Diablo, but still, ETC can do a lot of damage also.
They might take Li Ming here, to deny that from SDE and then give the consideration to
The Mosh
yeah,
also?
yeah. Also, the other thing that we're looking at here is what is Good going to be playing here, because he may just simply play the Zarya. But I was going to say, Dahaka feels really appealing right now. Like, Dahaka, he's played it so well, so aggressively. This time they have ETC on their side. Dahaka's extra global, plus the fact they have ETC at level 10 plus to be able to be global, feels really strong. So I think they're just going to, take the Rhaegar later, as you mentioned, and pick up the Dahaka here. No, Mighty,
Let's see.
I think they Li Ming now.
Li Ming and possibly even one more variant if actually, because they have Vala, but we saw that before. Joker couldn't really get into all the way to the back deep line because he might find himself in the danger zone. But if they have a Vala with Zarya on that shield and ETC just supporting Vala from the danger, maybe it's time for that taunt. Who knows? I don't think Jaehyun is comfortable playing on that Charism yet to see.
I'd rather see Johanna Li Ming here. It's going to be Muradin Gul'dan, so they're going to take the Gul'dan again, which didn't work well for them last time. And
Yeah, I like this choice. I like this choice of Joker going around his picks tonight. It did not work so well. There's a reason, but still another reason to not use them and just go around, just pick some fresh picks. I think that's a good choice too.
Johanna's really strong wave clear, doesn't matter that much on this map. So really just picking her only for the blind feels weak. But they would know that there's really no ability damage on the side of GG's purely auto. That's why I was leaning towards the Johanna pick the blind is going to get a lot of value. But they're sticking with Muradin. He has mobility. This map is much more a Muradin map than a Johanna map in that way, taking GG's draft aside. Guys, this is the 5th and final game of our first series. Winner takes all on Sky Temple. Mighty versus GG. It's been a fiery series, but it all comes to an end right now on this final map. Mighty in blue. Joker on Muradin, Sands on Ragnaros, Magi on Falstad, Nasong on Malfurion, and SDE on Gul'dan.
And their opponent, GG in red, BDG on Vala, Jaehyun in Rhaegar, Good on Dahaka, and Hooligan ETC and Wujie on Zarya.
Here we go.
Let's see, Good was pretty good on Dahaka before, so I would expect him to come from the other side, maybe grab onto Gul'dan or even Malfurion and blow up the teamfight. That is also a possibility. They also GG actually decides to go a little aggressive, and they're taking a lot of damage from the beginning. Shielded a little bit later also.
This is wise because there's no strong CC hero here to punish them for this. Yes, they took a lot of damage, but they can all just tap a well. And they're basically trading cooldowns on the well for the structures. If they're up against ETC, if Joker's on ETC, 100% they don't do that because it's too risky. They're bullying Sands in lane here, baiting rotations up. They're going to back off. And ETC is just free in mid. I like how GG is playing this, to be honest.
Well, I also do in a way, but as we saw from MVP Black's game, they were prioritizing the bottom lane for that big picture they were drawing because of the Second Temple phase. They were pushing the wall with that Sylvanas, and basically they won that Second Temple phase pretty easily. Well, it turns out they didn't even have to go to the well, but still, that was like very smart played, and that was a strategy. It looks like they're not following too much of that, but that was great depth.
There's definitely a lesson to be learned here. Black gets the more potent and relevant objective, but in this case, they bully Ragnaros, who has no escapes. So there's like trade-offs on both sides, and I think it's really good that you bring this up because in a perfect world, if you could choose which one, you would definitely want the bot. But in this case against Rag, that's where they knew they had the safer push. So I like this a lot. The positioning, of course, of Hooligan as well to make sure no rotations could stop them was why this worked out so well.
And looks like Natang is caught and blown up from the beginning. Hooligan, great power slide in, and Joker will just storm toss away. But during all this time, Ragnaros has been firing all those shots by himself on the up on top. So it's an equal trade, but also, well, losing Malfurion does hurt, but I think it's an equal trade about as the same.
I would agree. If they get the final shots here and don't miss any waves in bot, like if Daka goes down there after this kill and they don't miss any minions, I think this is about even. It's unfortunate that SDE actually dies, basically a death that was in vain. That's unfortunate, it's frustrating, but otherwise I think Mighty's still in a pretty good place here. They got a little bit of extra soak. Sand's got those minions up there. They sent Dahaka top instead of to get the soak on bot. And we're at an almost dead even game at this stage in time.
I was thinking Li Ming would be the last choice of Mighty instead of Gul'dan, but I guess they wanted that wave clear a little bit more, and especially having that horrified team fight does turn around lots of things. And it also has to do with players, which hero they like, which hero they can play better and feel comfortable while they're actually pressured in this big stage.
One of the reasons why Gul'dan is better than Li Ming, potentially, more the reasoning they might have taken it, is because Li Ming's damage is in such obvious chunks and bursts that it makes Zarya's shields a lot more powerful because you can just simply time it to absorb all of the damage. Whereas Gul'dan's damage over time, when the shield expires, will just hit your HP directly. So that's something that sustained damage versus burst is better against Zarya's shielding. So that's one of the reasons why they take Gul'dan here, absolutely. And we'll see if it works out for them. The wave clear is important. They know this is Sky Temple. They're going to go for a Fell build instead of the Echoed Corruption because that's just a stronger pick because the game is unlikely to go to that long stage. Although this is one of the closest games of Sky Temple I've ever cast.
For now.
Yeah, for now. It's definitely not snowballing one way or the other, which is quite rare for this map. And these two teams are just so evenly matched.
And also having Falstad on one team and Dehak on the other team. Both teams are gonna just soak on. They're not gonna lose. They can lose some EXP, but both teams have at least one hero to soak up in the other lane. They can join the team fight later. Hooligan really runs. Looks like the Sands is just trying to be safe, just running away. Uje tries to be a little aggressive, having that ETC. Actually, Mighty didn't lose too much because usually having that ETC, you have that not global presence, but having that roaming ability in the beginning of the game, it's just so strong.
It's very, very strong. He's the strongest early game tank in the game. His late game is probably one of the strongest as well, especially once he hits 20. This is controlled by GG currently, though, because of Hooligan's positioning. Yet again, Cleanse goes off to save SDE, but he gets hooked, and he will not be saved at the end of the day. And Mighty should not collapse on this. They're down a member now.
That's okay, because I think Falstad has already pushed the forward and all to the second wall. I think this is actually a good trade for Mighty.
Yeah.
They don't have to contest. They can just stall some time from them going back.
Precisely.
Yeah, Dehaka just went back. You can't just leave Magi to do all that damage. See how much damage he did by himself.
Precisely. If they had decided to fight there, I think it would have been a very poor choice. But because they did not, we're going to have a pause here. You guys probably saw the lag spike there. Because they did not, they get the keep wall, and basically Falstad did about as much as the Temple. And they're going to get 10 first as a result.
So we see a lot of these great macro plays, basically having a higher level and then taking that advantage into a team fight, just forcing the other team just unable to team fight or just crushing them into a team fight. We see that a lot, and that is one of the most crucial things about the game. That is how the game is made, and just all the Korean teams seems to be there on top of things, and especially the higher teams. They're just managing globally how they run the game, how they draft around it, so they can use that maximum potential of what they can do with the team comp. It's amazing. Even these teams, And not saying that they're not strong, but they have not perfected what they can actually do. But let's see what happens in like 2 weeks or so. Maybe they can go up to a level of MVP Miracle or challenge even MVP Black or all 5.
Yeah. I do want to say that GG actually did get 10 first, despite everything. Just barely, very slightly. Now the heroics are here, and there's a lot of high-impact heroics on both sides here. We are going to see adaptation from good, which is something that we've been seeing a lot in Korea. We see isolation sometimes every now and then in the West, but I like this choice, and he has the backup of Ancestral to keep himself alive. Good's style of Dahaka is insanely aggressive. We saw it previously 2 maps ago, and we're going to see it here again. And these two teams are, I think, so passive right now for how this map normally goes. I think they're really feeling the pressure of this Game 5. No one's really taking any risks. Everyone's just playing insanely standard, safe. You know, if they're not 100% sure they're going to get the pick, why even try? You know, very, very unusual for SkyTemple to be this dead even at 720.
Yeah, both teams are being super cautious at the moment. They want to win. They don't want, and every 10 members of both teams, they don't want to make any mistakes and feel that guiltiness after the game. Like, we lost that game because of me.
Yeah.
That feels so bad at the end. So, just being super cautious, of course, it's a good thing, but not too really. Okay, Joker getting caught, but I like the choice of Murden, as I said before, because he has been getting caught several times today, and then basically his ATC blown up a few times before the fight.
Notice Joker has the Cloud9 mount, which is clearly a reference to King Caffeine and his Murden play from the spring season of BlizzCon 2015.
2017 already?
No, not yet. That's later this year.
Yeah.
But I just want to point that out. Very, very subtle reference there, Joker. Joker also a big fan of NA, and he's said on his stream multiple times he wishes he could play HGC
and here comes
NA.
Maggie on the side, Gusting, Uj, and BDG. Awesome, Vala in trouble. This is exactly what they wanted. Silence, but Ancestral goes in. Looks like Vala's going to stay alive for a little bit more. It is cooldown that's going down. Nasang also in trouble. This fight is going all over. About 2 already dead from Mighty. Ragnaros goes into Molten Core. Is that going to be enough? I don't think that's enough, and they're basically... That's not the way you should go. You can't go back. It's impossible. Rag is the only one alive, and the entire team of Mighty, except for Rag, is just gone for that fight.
Incredible Sands was able to escape it all, to be honest. This fight, they had the wombos of combos. Like, they had a great gust, isolating,
great
a really good silence, and the Ancestral goes off, so Vala lives, and that's when the fight turns around. Vala can still... Especially with the build she's chosen, she's not really a spell damage Vala. She has gone for double, but she does double W's. But she has a large damage output regardless of being silenced. So saving her there was the critical point, and that Ancestral won them the fight. We're gonna see a temple to the bottom taken by Mighty, as Hooligan is just gonna extra soak down here at the bot, and they're pushing the keep wall, so they're gonna trade this temple for a little bit more lane pressure, and I like this because the bottom fort is not as significant as the top keep wall. They already lost theirs, but now they've taken away the same from Mighty. And they're even like looking to get the keep tower.
It looks like Dehaka just parted back home for the moment, and ETC is trying to, looks like he's trying to soak up EXP at the bot lane so they don't lose too much.
So even temples, a fort for a keep wall, this is a win for GG. And now, you know, the top is neutral in terms of structures, with both keep walls gone. And
it looks like Falstad is about to fly over, so maybe he's just stalling a few more seconds before he flies over.
Maybe he's just got a few more seconds on cooldown. Oh, looks like he's just actually clearing up there. They want to get as much EXP as they can. They want to try to catch up to 16. The problem is that GG's going to have it first, even if Falstad stays there. And they have a small window of time where they're not down a talent tier if they're going to fight. Magi is just hiding here. I guess maybe it looked like he flew in, but he didn't. Good sees him, of course, and he shows himself in the mini wave anyways. 16's up for GG. They see Moggy. They're actually going to try to get a pick here onto Sands. His positioning, again, a mistake here. Gets stunned. They need to get this pick to make the ults worth it. I mean, they used Rain of Vengeance as well as Stage Dive, and they don't get the kill.
And Moggy flies over and uses the Gust to disengage the entire team. Great trade right there. No casualties. Just Mighty, all he has to use was Gust, and compared to that, Stage Dive and Expulsion Zone was wasted. Not wasted, but used from GG's side.
Sands' positioning is often so risky that it almost feels like he's baiting. Like, why would he go through the bot there? That's so risky. It's wholly unnecessary. He's so greedy.
What we saw from a lot of Ragnaros players like Modern Life, if you overextend just a little bit, it's not even overextend for Ragnaros to overextend, I guess. If you go over that line of the middle lane, then that's where you go into the dangerous zone. It is so hard for a Rag to just stay safe when they have so many globals that they can get you.
This feels like he's baiting with how he moves.
Almost.
And 16 now reached for Mighty. The fact that those heroics were wasted attempting to get Sands, excuse me, was so good for Mighty, because now we're back on an even slate. Like, this game has been very, 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 very close. GG had a slight lead temporarily, but it's all been turned around now as the game is dead even, essentially.
But they have the same talents, and Falstead just soaking a little bit more EXP on the bottom lane before he flies over, and looks like GG is going to start taking that top temple.
Okay, Moggy's flying. Here we go. This fight may decide the game. It's going to decide who gets 21st, almost at the very least. Hooligan taking some damage here, gets out, and they're not going to fight. This is just how this map has been going. No team is going to take the risk that's unnecessary. Good will retreat here.
He's got good shots. He's got good half of the first half of the temple. And Moggy actually was a little bit too dangerous, almost caught there. Good has been taking a lot of damage, but it is Stage Dive time. Here comes Hooligan into the wave, and Parsley gets canceled by that root.
Yep. All right, Hooligan needs to get out now. He does. Expulsion Zone, perfect here. Down goes the Horrify, though. And currently, this is a really close fight. The first death, though, is going to be on Hooligan. There's the kill then onto Uj. And it looks like Mighty will win this fight. BDG doing a lot of damage behind, getting that second kill there. And needs to get out. Good's going to go down here. It's going to be 4 for 2.
That was a dirty fight. And BDG actually falls at the very end. Wow. I think that was just last chunk of damage from Kuldan.
Well, with all those kills, Mighty will almost certainly get 21st with the ability to do now is soak 3 lanes. They got the entire temple. This bot push is super, super aggressively moving towards that keep wall. I'm going to get the soak here in mid and top with what they have left. They won't be able to soak 3 lanes. I meant to say 2, of course. The bot lane is pushing for itself. They'll get 2 waves here extra. And you know what? They're not able to do too much just because they only have 2 members, but I still feel like this is a huge turning point moment in this game where it's only going to be slight, but Mighty will get that lead in EXP to push towards 20. And the really big spike for 20 is, of course, going to be ETC. He's going to be able to bolt and potentially Storm Shield, but more likely it's going to be Bolt, which can be the playmaker that wins you games.
And go right into Power Slide and take out Sands from that zone. Mighty really trying to bait here, not going with the boss, and Hooligan taking a lot of damage and goes down. This may actually be a big mistake.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a boss at the very least.
And they're going to get 20 very soon, so GG's making sure that they have the camp down before that goes on, and Dehaka soaking up some EXP at the top. They're trying their best at the moment while this boss is going towards Mighty.
Look, I mean, ETC did absorb Sulfuric Smash and Horrify, but his death timer is about the same as the Sulfuric Smash. Horrify will be up soon. This is a strong boss push now. That's the key here. That's going to get this wall down. We'll give them 20 for the keep push. They also have all 4 Siege Giants. GG may be at GG at this point with how strong this push is.
And look at this. Let's see. Mighty just hit 20, and Joker does go in, but This boss has been just pushing so hard on that keep. Even Ragnaros on Molten Core form. Sands on that keep. Let's see how long they can stall this time. And
Wind tunnel as well to try to push everybody away. They want to core here really, really hard. Already a dead Falstad though. The boss is actually getting quite low. Sands is actually going to lose his trait here for just a moment. Good, trying to go on the chase here and get the pick onto Nasong. The most significant thing I feel about all of this is that they were so confident they were going to get the core, but now Falstad has Wind Tunnel, which is going to be just
basically
it's
almost useless.
Very inferior to Epic Mount. The top keep is up, 2 are down, and this is a horrible time to lose 2 because now it's going to be double temple for GG, and they're going to likely be the team to get a second keep first with how this is going. I don't think that was the time to core call and Wind Tunnel, especially. The death of Falstad early on in that fight was what caused them to lose it. And this game is still winnable by either team, but GG gets a massive, massive advantage here, which is going to give them 2 objectives for the price of just 2 deaths.
And looks like Mighty still had some buildings left, but it is on GG's side now. They have the momentum. They are getting both temples at the same time. They're rotating down now as they finished taking that middle temple. Mighty in trouble, I think. I honestly think they just let that go because this is the 5th match they've been playing the game for almost 3 hours now. They must be tired.
I'm sure they are. But as it stands, I mean, this is a pretty disastrous situation. Like, the big keep will go down with another wave. They're going to try to force this fight now, though. They want this Siege Giant camp really badly. Wind Tunnel actually will be useful here in this case.
That was effective. I was expecting an expulsion zone, and it even bolted away.
Yeah,
from
the bolt, I don't know if it was 100% necessary, but I guess just for safe measure. Good is going to get picked here, and stage dive.
A little too early, and Hooligan is solo, get Ancestral healed, but this is basically a 4v5 already. Sands just joins the team fight, but the entire team of GG just running away. Expulsion zone just to keep them out of the fight. But Joker is just way too strong, too heavy. Wu-Jay on very low, and he's gone.
No way that was a good attempt to stage dive. Like the stage dive there, especially because he didn't have Bolt, as we just mentioned, is just the wrong choice. If it's 4v5 on the defensive, you can stop a core push. You're fine. You're going to be okay. But if you lose any more than that, you lose the game. And this will be a win for Mighty, just off of that decision to stage dive alone. The Wind Tunnel going to be useful here again. But that's game. Mighty will win this series off of one choice to stage dive and re-engage that was incorrect by GG. Mighty wins it 3-2 in a very close series, the closest series we have had so far in this tournament. And that's the kind of day we expected at HGC Korea today with the lineups that we have.
And as you can see from his face, they won, but he's not too happy, of course, that they were way too aggressive in the first leader core call. And then it was actually GG's fault that they went a little bit too aggressive when they saw that Wind Tunnel taken on that Falstad. And also Hooligan was a little bit too rushed at the end. There was a lot of pressure for sure at the end, but Mighty just taking the win. A better team wins at the end, of course.
This will put Mighty at a 2-1 score and 7-6 in maps. They will actually pass Tempest temporarily and will be in 3rd place for the matches today. Tempest won't be playing, so they won't have a chance to catch up until next week. But Mighty played the better series in the end there, but it was insanely close. And the entire 5-game series was decided by one decision to try to 4v5 with the stage dive there, and that decision alone lost them the game. They could have patiently waited. They could have played like they were playing all game long, insanely carefully.
And then both teams just decided to go all out, make some mistakes, but I guess they really wanted to finish that game. It was pretty long too.
Hooligan was the weak link today, I feel. Like, him getting caught on ETC was why they almost won the game in the first place. And then, deciding to mosh pit there, or I keep saying mosh pit, stage dive there, was absolutely the incorrect choice. So there you have it. Mighty takes it 3-1. And coming up next, we're going to have L5 against Raven.
But still, we do have to. Well, that was a long series to be starting, but we still have I know other regions have 2 matches a day, but we are late on schedule, so we have 3 matches a day, so we still have 2 matches left.
And if the matches that we have coming up next last as long as this one, we might be here until 3 a.m. G Club. It's going to be a long Sunday night. It's going to be a lot of Heroes of the Storm content. If it goes until 3, Europe is going to have to wait for us to finish.
Oh, actually, that is correct. But I don't care. I want to see good games. I love long series, but this was one of the longest series we've ever had. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be back with match number 2 very soon after the short commercial break.
That's right, and it's L5. Tell your friends to get in here. Best team in the world. How well will they do against Raven? We're going to find out after this short commercial break. See you then.